But I think it's so important to have tools, and then so that you can just have those tools to turn to so that you can take a
Yeah,
pause, so that life doesn't have
yeah,
to hit you over the head with a massive
yeah,
pause in the form of a broken
yeah,
bone or a diagnosis or a
yeah,
layoff or something.
yeah,
If you can find those moments to pause or connect with nature, or just turn within for 5 minutes, those are tools that help you kind of maintain that balance. So you don't have to be whacked with a big pause, a
right,
forced pause.
exactly.
Uh,
Right, right, and be exactly be blown over, which can be a lot more dramatic and actually at times painful, emotionally painful. So
totally.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Um, and I think you said something so fascinating in your book, and I have it underlined. And it was to the effect of, if you don't have the proper nutrition, if your gut bacteria is thrown off, if you are unhealthy in
Yeah.
that way, almost it's very difficult to make those good decisions. So I really,
Yes.
it's the mental health aspect of food is, how food is fundamental is so important to know, because someone could look at my Instagram and be like, oh, she's meditating, she's so spiritual, she's so healthy, whatever. But if I wasn't making, it starts with the food, it starts with the health of your gut brain
Absolutely. Yeah.
connection, and then you have the capacity to go to be aware and not just be in the spin cycle of life. So talk to me a little bit more about that,
Absolutely.
because it's so profound.
Absolutely. Thank you. So I think you're absolutely right. Because I think it's true. A person might look at what you do on Instagram and what I do and think, oh, make assumptions, I guess. And that's why I really share with people that it's not necessarily easy for any one of us. I have, for example, I have struggled with my metabolism changing after chemotherapy, and the exercises that I do just don't work as well. So I've had to really rethink that, and I'm still in the process of doing that. And that when your body changes on a mitochondrial level, it's harder. It's sometimes harder to lose those excess pounds. So I will, say to people very honestly, it's not easy for any one of us, and I include myself as part of that. But I also say to them, my patients, that I have grace with myself. If something is not working, I'm going to try something else. But I think that it also comes back to the meaning that you have, and how to sort of move yourself forward, because it does in fact come down to how we're eating. Many of those things come down, and right now one of the most crucial things is our metabolic health. 88% of Americans have at least one abnormal metabolic factor. So now that we know that, even people who don't appear overweight might have a metabolic problem that they don't realize. So there's these different things that are going on with all of us, and I feel like if we don't stop and take notice, we are going to end up with diagnoses that we really don't want. And I think that eating is a simple way that, whether you do intermittent fasting and say you have 2 meals a day, or say you eat regularly, 3 meals a day and snacks, whatever it is that you do, you have that within your power. You can make a choice. You can work with a practitioner. You can figure out your best path forward. You don't have to change everything at one time. It could be just keeping hydrated. It could be making sure you have your coffee early in the day so it doesn't disrupt your sleep. It could be that you cut back on a glass of wine, because if you're relying on that glass of red wine to put you to sleep, it's actually destroying your sleep architecture. So it's all these things that we just need to pay attention to. It's almost bringing it to awareness, bringing it to awareness. And until we bring it to awareness, we don't do it on a regular basis, right? Because it's practice. Whether it's yoga, whether it's meditation, it's practice. And same thing with food. It doesn't change overnight. It's a slow and steady journey. And if you start to make those changes, and you are taking care of your microbes, if you're taking care of your gut microbiome by how you're eating, that healing will start to happen. And people will come back or call me up a week later and say, I noticed a difference. I'm feeling different. I'm thinking more clearly in my meetings, or whatever it is. And that's the power of seeing the changes. And those are the things we have to harness to follow a path of really of healing.
And do you, as a psychiatrist, so many people are told that, oh, this is a chronic condition and you need to be on an antidepressant or you need to be on some sort of medication for the rest of their life. I know with severe mental disorders, like say perhaps bipolar or schizophrenia, maybe medication is going to need to be a chronic or like a forever thing. But is it often where you might put someone on an SSRI for a temporary basis or something for OCD while you're healing their gut through nutritional supplementation and diet and lifestyle change in order to get them off?
Sure.
Talk to me about that, because I feel like that should be the goal. There's going to be a small percentage of people that have a genetic fully penetrant condition that are going to need medical pharmaceutical support for the rest of their life. But I believe that we can achieve through lifestyle change and diet a lot, so that if you need medication, it's for a temporary, short bridge period of time. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So, different people vary and different conditions vary. So you're absolutely right. What I've seen and how I work is that some individuals come in under medication, and over time, we can work to lower the doses of medications. And some people are able to tolerate, but it's a careful evaluation, because what I don't want people to take away from this is eat asparagus and don't take your Prozac, right? That's not the right message. But can you work with a practitioner to slowly cut back while you're upping everything else in terms of your nutrition game, exercise, lifestyle changes, improving your sleep, spending time in nature, meditating, whatever works for you, put it together. It's really a holistic model that's integrated and functional. So as many of those things that you're targeting, you will be able to work with a practitioner maybe to lower your medications. There are other individuals who can't lower their medications, but they can offset side effects just by eating healthier and involving them, so they may not gain as much weight just by keeping active and eating healthy. And so it's sort of almost a careful calibration for each person. And other individuals come in and they are able to function, Kelly. So they're working, they're doing what they need to do, but they're feeling, say, super anxious. And they can actually tolerate working on just a nutritional psychiatry plan because they're not in any danger. They're not unsafe. There's no suicidal ideation. They don't have symptoms of mania or psychosis, which are dangerous. And those conditions need immediate evaluation and often immediate treatment of some kind. But there are individuals who might be super anxious or feeling a little blue. We just heading into spring now. It's been many months of darkness in the Northeast. Shorter hours. People have some seasonal blues, seasonal affective disorders. So they might be able to work with, say, a light therapy lamp, work on their nutrition, do some meditation, do some exercise, and work on a sort of comprehensive plan and stay off medication. So each person does vary, but you're absolutely right. The more serious conditions, we may have less leeway to really have someone come off medications. But when it comes to lifestyle, of which nutrition is one of the leading modalities, these are powerful tools. And I think that lifestyle medicine doctors, functional medicine doctors are really putting forth, you can eat better, you can do this better, you can eat better to change, change your prediabetes, to change your insulin resistance. It's becoming much more powerful now.
Yeah. And it could be as simple as like a magnesium deficiency. So many
That's
people
right.
in the West are deficient in magnesium, vitamin D, omega-3s. I mean, it's fascinating that
there's so many things. Yeah.
So
you could eat differently to help that.
Exactly. So I mean, are there a lot of nutritional psychiatrists out there? What would your advice be for someone who's feeling depressed? Maybe it's associated to a loss or grief or trauma. Maybe it's something that came out of the blue, hormonal, whatever. Where should someone go to find someone like you? And if someone is quick I just want to give people agency. A lot of people go to a doctor, say they're depressed, and they're just handed a
pill, right?
Handed a pill without any knowledge of what's going on in their blood panels. So what would you guide people to seek out first if they're feeling, a mental health disorder?
Absolutely. Well, it's important. to be evaluated by an appropriate clinician in the mental health field. And I think that before you, depending on how poorly you're feeling or how the level of your stress might be, to include and be empowered and advocate for yourself for a conversation around, can I work with supplements? Can I speak to a functional medicine doctor who might be able to look at this differently? Nutritional psychiatry is new and nascent. Many of us have practiced this way for a while, but there are fewer people who are using this every day. But one of my great dreams in life is actually to be able to offer more education to different kinds of practitioners, Kelly, that, can learn these tools and employ that, whether they're a health coach or a psychologist or a psychiatrist or even an internal medicine doctor, so that they can include this in their practice, because I feel it's so fundamental. So that's really a big dream of mine to be able to do, because I think that if we set up education for individuals to learn a certification or have this training, then this becomes part of the conversation. You don't have to seek out something. I do believe that my clinic is the only one in the US at Mass General, and it's one in a very large country. So there are people who've studied this overseas. There are groups who've done research, but it's about putting together the clinical and the sort of the clinical as well as the research. And I think that that's where education becomes important. But start the conversation with your practitioner and advocate for yourself. Before you accept a medication, ask for other tools, ask for other evaluations, ask for blood tests. These are things that people should feel empowered to do.
Thank you for listening to the Heal podcast. Be sure to tune in for more empowering wisdom and inspiring healing stories. Oh, and make sure you hit the follow button on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss that one episode that holds the answer you've been searching for. And if you feel inspired, we would love you to rate and review us so that we have the opportunity to reach more people. And of course, you can follow us on Instagram for some behind the scenes fun and more inspiration at @HealDocumentary and @KellyGorris. Thank you so much and be well.